Hello.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing? How's the practice going?
Yeah, do we have chat enabled?
Chat is still open, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to say something, if you want to share some of your experiences, or maybe whatever you have, whatever you're coming with today, we're happy.
Going well. Yeah, always good to hear.
Yes, and also if there is maybe some gray area for you still that you would like to expand on.
Yeah, we will definitely continue adding different elements of the practice. But of course, if there's something you would like to go deeper into, always feel free to give us a feedback on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because today we'll also again rearrange slightly the practice to just show the possibility of one of the area of the tummo, especially the last piece, the last section, right? Of bringing the drops together. So we'll just also adjust it so we can spend a little bit more time there today. How does that sound?
Yeah, maybe we wait another like 2-3 minutes because people are still coming in.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we will just lock the meeting for the sake of not needing to focus on meditation, guiding the meditation plus administration.
Yeah, because Jonas is talking here, but he's admitting everyone that is coming. Slow and steady making, working on all familiar and clear.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, we have to admit it's really a lot of content, and yeah, also the way Lama Glenn often teaches is not giving a full transmission over a weekend or so, but like a piece of the practice every week, which is also quite typical for the traditional way of teaching to become familiar with the steps of the practice. We now have a bit of a different approach. We give quite a lot straight away, and then to dive in deeper into certain parts once we have an overview of the whole system.
Yeah, and yeah.
Got things going this week, integrated with my pre-existing practice, getting free of my notes, got some very striking sensations, really promising and exciting, thanks to you and Lama Glenn. Yeah, so sounds very good actually.
Sounds very good. And there's Elizabeth, welcoming the opportunity to practice. Thank you, and thank you.
The books are very useful. Which books? Maybe the books of Lama Glenn, you mean, probably? That I think we have linked them, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and here we appreciate seeing it all and being allowed to focus on bits during personal practice. Exactly, because when we actually attended few of different teachings of Lama Glenn and also other teachers, and we noticed that this focus on one bit is really very good, but maybe for the Westerner mind, we like need to understand first the process, like the overview, so we can relax on really in-depth explanation of certain sections, and we just figured out that it works the best for us, and thanks to that we understood the structure and the meaning of it, and then we actually were open to hear everything that Lama Glenn was teaching. So it benefited us, that's why we shared it also in that way to you.
The other reason is also simply because a lot of the participants just got the teachings from Lama Glenn, right, over a couple of months, so we don't want to
repeat it.
Yeah, make a board, give those who know it already a board out, dropping into our sessions.
Yeah, but we are actually sharing how we practice. So yeah. You've heard the teaching of Lama Glenn, and now we're giving our well, not interpretation, it's just like the way we practice it, the way we actually see now hold the process. So we are sharing it with you, hopefully that it benefits you too. I agree, also having written instructions. Okay. Yeah, Albert.
Yeah, actually the way we even do now the sessions are very strict according to the way it is taught traditionally, the way also Lama Glenn teaches it, while probably, and we surely will touch on that in the future, we often in our own practice go a little bit differently, because I mean, there's a reason behind these certain steps to induce certain experiences, but actually when understanding the whole process and being familiar with it, one can practice in different ways. For example, one way Lama Glenn once taught is one doesn't need even to melt the syllables. This whole step of melting the syllables is not mandatory. So one can just have channels, chakras, syllables, generating the heat, bringing it up, and at some point just doing the flaring and dripping, and then the 4 blisses without ever having melted the syllables. It's more like a step to enhance the sensation of energy is flowing down. Once the heat is up, the energy flows down, and then to have even more focus on the Atung. But this is a pure mental technique, because it doesn't necessarily make the actual energy flow happen. Yeah, and that's the charm and the magic of when you understand the purpose of a certain sections, then you can adjust it to your needs. So you understand that you don't have enough heat, so you do the certain more yantras there. Then you just understand that you have a difficulty of pulling the energy up. Then you do more flaring, and then you want to actually focus more on drawing the energy down, and you do more dripping. So then you can actually consciously direct your practice in a way that it's suitable for you, while understanding all the purpose of the whole process. Yeah, because ultimately it's really, really super simple. Yeah. So, anyone has any adverse effects, typical meditation illness responses? In my part, I've always avoided focusing on my heart center. After many weeks of practice, I began to get heavy palpitations, something to be concerned with at my age. I have stopped focusing for prolonged period at the heart, and the palpitations have gone. I did need a trip to my GP, who sent me for a ECG. Fortunately, there were no underlying medical conditions. Yeah, I have one thing that pops up with this. Have you ever been on any type of detox? What happens when you are on the detox? Then first your body identifies the toxins and then tries to remove it by drawing all the toxins from your body to the bloodstream and then removing it through either of the holes or through the pores of your skin. And often people, when they are going through the detox, they experience sickness, headaches, sometimes even vomiting. And for some people, it is the reaction, something is wrong with me. So what they do, they stop detox. And when they stop detox, all the symptoms cease. So they stop. So they think, okay, so that was good that I stopped it, because now I don't feel the pain. But you interrupted the process as well. So you did not fully detoxify. So sometimes when we are using these powerful methods like Tummo, it actually engages all of our system. And sometimes it identifies the blockages we have and we carry throughout life without doing anything with them. So here it is, it like starts to flush. That did not work. You hit something there, or you blocked that. So experience that symptoms, and the moment it frightens you and you don't go fully through the process, of course it's your choice, and how frightened it is to you or not. We're not saying we are doctors and we tell you what you should be doing. I'm just explaining the process, that it also through identifying the problem, you can also work through the problem, removing it eventually, or stop the process altogether. Yeah, one thing is certainly good to be mindful of what is happening, and never to force any of the processes. That's to be very gentle with oneself, and be mindful of it. Not to push it too much. Oh, I need to meditate more. Oh, it was in general a good experience. Now it's a bit difficult. I will push a bit more. That's good to be careful with that, for sure. Yeah. And that's why the breathing, we need to be gentle with the breathing, not stop breathing, but continue breathing, but in gentle way, not retaining the breath for too long. Sometimes during Tummo, I will shed tears without prompting. Could this be detox?
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Certainly, definitely something's going on, and surely when doing Tummo, a lot of things, the more we see of our true nature, which Tummo will definitely reveal to us, we will also on that way see more of what is happening in our mind in general and what is laying still in our subconscious. And these things will pop up and are being purified basically by showing. So a sign like that, like shedding tears spontaneously, I think it's a very good sign.
It's a very good sign because it shows that you're start to connect your heart. I've heard from one of the Lama that was teaching the energy system that actually the eyes have the most connecting of these small channels to our heart. So the eyes will always react to what is happening in our heart. So whenever we are opening up or triggering either compassion, love, even the self-compassion and self-love, or even reconnecting with the heart, the eyes will always show. So the tears could be also the result and symptom of that process. So it's actually very good.
Okay, how about we start for now? One more, and someone's still coming in. When the syllables drip into each other, they are completely absorbed by the lower syllable without a trace. It turns out that the top hung never reaches our tongue. So I'm not sure about the second part of the question, but yeah, once the syllables are melting, they are being completely absorbed by for example, the hum goes into the and then there's only the remaining, still kind of containing the essence of the hum, but we don't see any hum anymore.
Yeah, the only thing that stays are the chakras. So chakras never melt.
Yeah, chakras don't melt, and the atom also doesn't melt. It turns out that the top hung never reaches our tongue. I'm not sure what you mean, because like the hung certainly also melts into the atom.
Everything melts and eventually reaches the atom that flares it up again.
Should the point of focus be the heart or the thymus gland?
Very thymus gland. So it depends which chakra we are focusing, right?
Yeah, I think thymus is more in the chest.
Thyroid gland.
But this is thymus. I think thymus is not thyroid.
Yeah, okay.
No, heart chakra would be really the center of the chest.
Okay.
Throat chakra. Some people actually point the throat chakra here, but most explanations are it's really in the throat. In some sadhana practices, there's dripping from crown chakra all the way down to our tongue, not in this practice. I mean, it does drip all the way down to the tongue, but either with the flaring and dripping, it will always go across the other chakras. Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
Right, let's do it.
Let's admit this to people.
Yes, already admitted it.
Okay. Right.
Should we provide a little resistance when exhaling?
You need to have enough space for not to gasp for the next breath. So that's the point of not retaining the breath for too long. So when you breathe out, you can still do it gently without like, you know. So that's why there is no force needs to be put into the process, but you can, the last exhale, you might like want to really shoot out the leftover of the air, but I think it's mostly for the 9-round breathing, right?
Yeah.
So with when you breathe, when you breathe out, that should not be much force in exhaling.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there are different opinions, right? Like the way Lama Glenn teaches is certainly like always slowly and relaxed. Other lamas do recommend to have like this more.
Yeah.
Forceful out and then even emptying a bit more at the end.
But
I think as long as we don't force it, like that the body tenses, because whenever we hold the breath, it's easy to tense the body, and even not noticing it. Thinking, oh, I'm doing it relaxed, but actually the body is still quite a bit under tension. So it's good to become very conscious of the processes in the body and how it works. So,
and treat it with love and compassion and respect. The one that we want to then show to other beings.
All right, so let's find ourselves in a comfortable position, ideally cross-legged, back straight, chin slightly tucked in.
Sorry, the chat is disabled.
Mhm.
Yeah, perfect.
And then we start focusing on the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Not any type of special breathing. We don't breathe deeper at this stage as usual. And we just notice how the breath comes and goes at the tip of our nose. We let thoughts and sounds pass without evaluation. Whenever we notice our mind is distracted, we just come back to the breath. And then we take refuge. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha. Also, because we practice Tantra, the Buddha is also the Lama, the Dharma is the Yidam, both generation and completion stage aspect of the Yidam. And the Sangha are Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma Palas. So that secret meaning is always there when we take refuge. And we take refuge until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. And we generate bodhicitta. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be separated from great happiness that is free of suffering, and may they rest in great equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be separated from great happiness that is free of suffering, and may they rest in great equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be separated from great happiness that is free of suffering, and may they rest in great equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Om Subhavashada Sarva Dharma Subhavashruham. We let the world dissolve into light, and we just stay in the infinity, empty nature of being for about 1-2 minutes. Now, out of emptiness, in the space in front of us, appears Milarepa, either in his yogic form or as Vajradhara, male and female sexual union. And we make a mandala offering.
Sashi Puchi Joshik Metokra, Relap Nichi Nidati Pade, Sanji Shindomita Puwai, Droganam Dakshina Chuparashu.
Om Yam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnir Yeta Yame. We request, Milarepa, please give us your blessing so that we attain full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. As a response, Milarepa emanates light out to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of all times, past, present, and future, in the whole of space, and as soon as they are being touched by his light, they melt into him like snowflakes falling into a lake. And we understand that he is the complete union of enlightenment of all times and directions. From a syllable Om at his forehead, white light streams into our forehead and completely purifies all obscurations that we have accumulated with our body. We are empowered to attain the body of a Buddha, the Nirmanakaya of a Buddha. Red light streams from a red syllable Om at his throat into our throat, purifies all obscurations of our speech. And we are empowered to attain the joy body of a Buddha. And our speech becomes a powerful tool for helping and benefiting others. And blue light streams out from a blue syllable Hung at his heart into our heart and purifies all obscurations of our mind. And we are empowered to attain the enlightened mind of a Buddha. And all the three lights stream into us at the same time. This is the fourth empowerment, secret word empowerment. And all of a Buddha's qualities are realized instantaneously. And then we recite Milarepa's name mantra, thus attaining his enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And while we recite the mantra, we can focus either on Milarepa in front of us, on the sound and vibration of the mantra, or just rest our mind in its natural state, free of any dualism, completely dissolving into the infinite nature of our own mind. Om Guru Hasa Vajra Sava Siddhi Palaho. 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 Om Ma Guru Asa Vasho Sarva Siddhi Pa. And Milarepa comes to the crown of our head, dissolves into light, and the light streams into our heart center, expands from there, and we just rest in that union. Now out of space we arise as Chakra Samvara, male and female in union. Standing on a sun disk in a fully opened lotus flower, with Bhairava and Kalarati below the feet. The right leg is stretched, the left one slightly bent. And Vajrayogini has both her legs wrapped around his hips. He is blue, she is red. Chakrasambhara is holding, Vajra and bell. Method and wisdom, bliss and emptiness. Vajrayogini is holding a skull cup with either filled the blood of the ego or pure nectar of bliss. The chopping knife in the other hand that cuts through all hindrances in the mind, and also the chopping knife of Vajrayogini is cutting through the view of duality. So we arrive at Mahamudra, non-dual awareness. Both have 3 eyes, skull crowns, the bone ornaments, and we are surrounded by flames, wisdom flames. And in this way of visualizing ourselves as this form of energy and light, we make already a profound step to transforming the view of ourselves and the world, connecting to a much more subtle, blissful reality. And then we do the 9-round breathing. If you know the Pakmudrupa way of doing it, the way Lamala teaches it, please feel free to do it. Otherwise, you can just follow the simple guidance I provide now. So we take the index finger of our right hand and close the left nostril, deeply breathing in wide, pure, universal male energy through the right nostril as deep as possible, completely filling the lung. Then closing the right nostril with the right index finger and releasing all our anger in form of smoke through the left nostril, completely emptying the lung. Again, closing the left nostril with the right index finger, deeply breathing in as deep as possible, wide, pure, male universal energy, closing the right nostril, releasing all our anger in form of smoke. And we repeat that process one more time. Then we take the index finger of the left hand, close our right nostril, and we breathe in through the left nostril, red female universal energy, breathing in as deep as possible, closing the left nostril with the left index finger, and breathing out smoke again. And now all our desire and attachment is leaving us. Closing the right nostril, breathing in as deep as possible through the left nostril, completely filling our lungs. Closing the left nostril, completely emptying the lung through the right nostril. In forms of smoke, all the desired attachment is leaving us. And one more time. Now breathing in through both nostrils, blue universal energy, as deep as possible, breathing in, and now releasing again, only holding for about a second or so. Here's no emphasis on breath hold. And we release all our confusion in forms of smoke, and it immediately dissolves back into space once the lungs are emptied. Breathing in, blue universal energy, deeply breathing in, and releasing it in form of smoke. And one more time. And then we just rest in that state, noticing how it feels. And we do the empty body meditation, focusing on our whole body as being completely hollow inside. We are really just this form of energy and light with no organs whatsoever.
And that's another take to how to approach that part, is also imagine yourself being a balloon. So whatever form you have, it's just so thin layer of matter, and there's nothing inside, basically. Feeling the lightness of that.
And we build the Vajra body, having a blue central channel starting at the point between the eyebrows, in the center of the forehead. It curls up all the way to the top of the skull, 8 finger widths behind the original hairline, and from there straightly goes down through the body to a point 4 finger widths below the navel. Inside the central channel is red and outside it is blue. Starting at the nostrils are the 2 side channels, curling up next to the central channel and going then all the way down from the same spot inside of the skull, all the way down until 4 finger widths below the navel, and there entering the central channel. The right side channel is red and the left side channel is white. This is because Tummo from the 6 yogas comes from Chakra Sambhara and Hevajra. Tantras, which are female tantras, male tantras would have the colors of the side channels reversed. If you like, we can also see that the side channels are curling around the central channel at the points where we will have the chakras, symbolizing some restriction in our energy flow, which later will be dissolved through our Tummo practice, so that our energy can flow freely and we can experience our full awakenedness, the awakenedness of our own being. At the heart, we have a heart chakra, white in color with 8 branch channels. And the branch channels are facing downward like an umbrella. And wherever we are going through now in the practice, we are always at that point in our body. So we're not looking at the heart chakra from our brain, but we really become the heart chakra in the center of our chest. Then we go to the throat. We travel up the central channel, coming into the throat where there is the throat chakra, red in color, with 16 branch channels, opening upward like an upside down umbrella. And we come into the center of our brain, where the crown chakra is. It's really the point where the pineal gland is located in the center of the brain. The crown chakra is white in color, with a pinch of multicolors. It has 32 branch channels, and they are opening downward like an umbrella. And now we travel all the way down through the central channel, through the throat, through the heart, at the point 4 finger widths below the navel, where the side channels are entering the central channel. And here we have the navel chakra, red in color with 64 branch channels. And the branch channels of the navel chakra are opening upward. The navel and the throat chakra are in the nature of fire and rising energy, and the crown chakra and heart chakra are in the nature of water and descending energy. Now we place inside of the navel chakra the Atung standing on a sun disk. The Atung is really like a thorn, a triangular thorn. It's red in color and blissful and non-dual in its nature. Inside of the heart chakra, on a moon disk, hanging upside down, is the blue syllable hum. In the throat, standing on a sun disk, the red syllable om. And in the crown, on a moon disk hanging upside down, the white syllable hum. So we're really working with the magnetic energy axis of the body between navel and crown chakra. Now we take some time placing our mind on the syllable hum inside of the crown chakra. White in color, both the chakra and the white syllable hum. We become the hum and we want to really feel that spot inside of our brain. We also want to learn to notice the subtle changes that happen in our body and mind when we place our mind on the visualization. The visualization really is the link to connect to our subtle body and our very subtle being, so that we come from the very coarse reality of a physical body. Through the yidam, we make the bridge to our more subtle nature, and now exploring the channels, chakra, syllables, we go even deeper, so that later and ultimately we can experience the clear light nature of our mind, which is the most subtlest of reality and also the source of all things that happen in space. All the universes and beings that appear out of space come out of clear light mind and are in essence clear light mind. And from the crown chakra, we travel through the central channel that is inside of chakra sambhara or Vajrayogini. So we travel down to the throat chakra, becoming the red syllable om. And again, we really want to connect to that energy spot in our subtle body. And this happens through really noticing all the changes that occur when placing our mind on the syllable, on the chakra. We travel down to the heart chakra and we become the blue syllable home. We want to feel what is happening deep inside the center of our chest. And we travel down through the central channel into the navel chakra, becoming the Atung. The Atung, which is really the essence of our being in the Tummo practice, is super hot, very blissful and non-dual. And for the main stages of Tummo practice, this is really the most important of all the chakras and locations inside of the body. And it is said that it is the point in the body where it is the safest to make the energies enter into the central channel. Focusing too much on the head can cause headaches. Throat can make us very emotional, same as with the heart. But the navel energy, which is kind of very close to the sexual energy, is connected to deep bliss and joy. And it's a very honest and straightforward energy. And we connect to the navel chakra and the Atung. Also often statements are made that meditating on the Atung is a supreme method for establishing samadhi, deep meditation. And the reason for this is because it is very blissful. Focusing on the Atung in the navel chakra is a very blissful experience. And this joy that happens, that occurs in body and mind, makes the mind naturally wanting to stay there. It's very normal that the mind wanders and starts jumping around, thinking and so forth. So whenever we notice that, we come back to the focus and the meditation. And the bliss of the Tummo practice, meditating on the Atung, makes it very easy to establish deep meditation. Now we do the vast breathing. So we breathe in through the side channels as deep as possible, pressing down with the diaphragm gently. So when we're saying pressing, it's really just a gentle push, actually. Nothing is happening with force in it. Then the energies enter into the central channel and are being absorbed by the Atung. This is really like when we have a log in the fire that is glowing in the heat and we blow on it, then it's glowing even stronger. And this is what happens when the energies enter the central channel into the Atung, being absorbed by the Atung. We gently pull up the pelvic floor. And again, so when we say pull, it is very soft. From my own experience, I pull up and press down like 20% now when practicing, as what I have been doing the first few months of my own Tummo practice. And it seems to be a general tendency that at the beginning we like to press and pull way too hard. But we do this whole vast breathing gently, and then also the bliss and the energy flow will happen much quicker. We place the mind in the Atung while holding the breath, and once we release, the heat and energy is rising through the central channel, and we breathe out through both nostrils. Slowly breathing out. That's why we also don't hold the breath for too long, otherwise we have to breathe out quickly or very exhaustedly, And again, we don't feel the energy flow when breathing out. So that's why not holding too long, gently holding the breath and releasing. And we meditate in that way for a couple of vast breaths. Find your own speed of breathing and doing it. And also we can add some more in our visualization that when we hold the breath in the Atung, the heat, the fire is spreading in the navel chakra and all the 64 branch channels. The heat, the bliss is going in, opening each of the chakras. It's often said like, before Tummo, the chakras are like a dry ladder. And through this bliss and heat spreading in the chakras, through the energy flow, this dry ladder is being treated like with oil. It's really moisturized and becomes very smooth and opens. And also, while we do it, then as the heat increases and the heat comes up the central channel, also while holding the breath. So we don't need to wait to bring the heat up until we breathe out. We can already make that happen while holding the breath. And also as the heat rises, it spreads also in the heart chakra, having the same effect in the heart chakra as it has in the navel chakra, opening the heart chakra, spreading bliss and heat in the heart. Same happening on the throat and in the crown as well. So we take a few more of the deep vast breaths, meditating in that way. And while we do all this meditation like that, also we want to notice how our state of mind is changing. And we want to be aware of the fact that whenever we see flames rising in the central channel, this is just an image. We want to be conscious of the sensation behind the image. We actually want to make this energy flow and energy transformation happening within the body. So we really always keep some awareness on the energy transformations and movements inside of the body that are happening beyond any type of mental images.
What it means actually in experience, it can some of the memories pop up or your mental attitudes towards either pictures in your stories of your daily life or your past, maybe your fears, expectations, but it also can be just different emotions arising in the moment. Whatever appears, it's just another step in the process. So as Jonas mentioned, it's good to observe it, becoming aware of it, but also not going to the deep interpretation, because it's not its purpose. Purpose is to notice changes that ultimately will be a sign of transformation of the body energies.
Yeah, whatever happens, we don't give any energy into it. We only focus on the steps in the practice. So whatever comes, we just leave it be, focusing on the energy, movement and transformation. And ideally at this point now, we really feel that the heat and the bliss has arrived in the crown chakra. We feel like the whole central channel, we can also visualize that the whole central channel took now on the color of the atom due to the intense heat and this process of heating up the whole central channel and the chakras and the syllables. And now having the energy in the crown chakra and the whole system, we can go to the next step of melting the white drop, the male energy inside of the crown chakra, and bringing it into the navel chakra. And we do this now by means of visualizing how the syllables are melting. We can take several breaths for melting each of the syllables, but for the sake of simplicity and time, let's melt each of the syllables with one vast breath. So we take a vast breath, heat goes from the tongue all the way up in an instant to the crown chakra, completely melting the white syllable hum. And it melts down into the syllable om, and it's being completely absorbed by it. And we stay with our mind inside of the syllable om. With the next vast breath, again, heat goes to the om, melting into the hung. And with the last, the hung melts into the atung. And then we stay with our mind and our awareness inside of the atung. Once the hung drops into it as being absorbed by the atung, the fire flares up even stronger than before. And we rest in non-dual consciousness. So we take about 5 minutes for that meditation. And always at any stage of Tummo practice, as mentioned, we want to notice the energy transformations. And what are the energy transformations? It's the dissolutions of the elements, and then the experience of the four emptinesses. So the dissolution of the elements, it's the earth element dissolving. It's the body is getting more heavy. And it's the vision of a mirage. After the earth element lessens, weakens, the water element dissolves. Into the fire element, it's a vision of smoke. The fire element dissolving into the air element is a vision of fireflies or flickering fire lights, small tiny sparks of light. And air dissolving into mind as an experience like looking into a candle light. And once the elements have dissolved, we experience the four emptinesses. The first emptiness is when the white drop in the crown comes down. And this can be actually triggered already with just focusing on the upward movement. It may trigger the flow and the melting of the drop in the crown, even if we don't focus on that visualization at the moment. And when the white drop comes down, it's a moonlight appearance, moon whitish light appearance. The second emptiness is the red drop coming up to the heart, like a reddish light that is being experienced. Once the male and female energy comes into the heart chakra, we have like a black out experience or like a moment of being unconscious. And once we come out of that, we experience clear light mind, the fourth emptiness. In general, all these steps, it's not like they're listed as just being outlined, but the experience of them is not 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. It's more like happening, intertwining all the time. Yeah. So by practice, we just come deeper and deeper, and it is being repeated several times. Yeah. And it can be also that we are just stuck at some of the stages for a couple of months, even, or years of practice to fully come to clear light mind. And also with clear light mind, it's not like we don't have it or then we all of a sudden fully have it. There are different levels of intensity. It's more like at which percentage do we manage to really dissolve the energies into the central channel and induce the four emptinesses and experience the clear light nature of our being.
Yeah. And that means that during the Tummo practice, you can experience either of this dissolution or some of them, or only two of them, and be stuck in the loop of dissolving only two elements or three. So you can, that's why it's important to feel the energy transformations, whatever happens in your body, in your mind while you practice, just to become aware of that, because we also mentioned that this process also happens in the time of death. So in here we are on the mental gym also to prepare ourselves for that moment. So when we become accustomed to this and transitions, then transition of death into part of, it's not going to be anything scary, and we'll be very comfortable feeling all of this transformation. So in the time of death, it's also all the elements of the earth are dissolving in our body, and we feel our muscles being more heavy, more stagnant, because the energy of earth is being dissolved into the water. And then the energy of the water is also dissolving into the fire element, and then we feel like the circulation stops. So really there is not much movement happening in our veins anymore. And then that's the element of fire is dissolving into the air, and we feel like the heat is also leaving our body. And then from the air, and we also see this kind of flicker and light like fireflies, what Janas mentioned. And then the element of the air is transformed into consciousness. And then our breath stops. So we're clinically dead, and our mind experiences this light of a candle. And then there is this opportunity for emptinesses that Jonas mentioned. So our energy of our aggression, the male part of our consciousness, of our indestructible drop, is dissolving. And then the reddish, like some say, like a sunset colored red energy from our female ancestors that represent our desire, our attachment, also is moving upwards towards the heart. And in the heart, we experience this third stage, this blackout. And from there is opportunity to experience the clear light also after that. So, and then it's a different story. Then we can decide more on our next rebirth. But that's something that we train, and the Tummo is great medium to train all of this awareness and energy transformations.
Now, that stage, after having melted the syllables, we could further centralize the body's energies with the flaring and dripping. We could induce the four blisses as we did last time. For now, as we wanted to focus a bit more on uniting the white and red drop at the heart, we will go to that stage. And for this, we can also let the hum and the crown reappear. So still the Tummo fire in the navel is very strong, and through that heat, the white nectar is being released from the crown chakra, and it is restoring the moon disk and the white syllable hum in the crown. So now we only have Atung and the hum in the crown. And then we meditate on bringing the white drop down and the red drop up. And we do this with taking a vast breath. Now not even necessarily pushing even down, as we are also focusing more on the upper part now. But we hold the breath in a gentle vase, even more gentle than we should do normally. And we take like a white sphere from the crown chakra. We really want to connect to our energy there. And we do this with the means of a visualization of taking out the white sphere of the crown chakra, letting it slowly descend into the heart chakra. And then we take out a red sphere out of our navel chakra and the Atung, and we let it ascend, bringing it together at the heart. And we stay there for a few moments. Just want to be resting in that natural mind and Mahamudra, clear light Mahamudra. We can do this either, actually it can be done also without any vast breath, just doing it by means of samadhi meditation. We can do it with 2 vast breaths as we did last time, or with 1, whatever suits. And so let's just do it in whatever way you feel most comfortable with. Taking 2 vast breaths, meaning for each of the movements of the drops 1, or bringing the energy together both within 1 breath, or even without a vast breath. And then just staying inside of the heart. Just resting, experiencing the clear light mind from the level of the heart. And once we are in that state where like awareness is aware of itself, we experience great bliss and spaciousness. We just want to be it, we become it. We don't try to apply any other technique, and there's also no reason to be frightened of that experience. It's a little bit like dying, as there is no sense of self in that state. So maybe the ego kicks in, starts panicking. Am I dying? What is happening? What's going on here? But this is the natural process of experiencing our true nature, which is not any type of being in the sense of, as we understand usually ourselves. It's a radiant conscious awareness that is naturally blissful when being experienced. And love and compassion naturally arise in that state as well. So just let go and become it. And if we are there, we just stay there. If we want to go a level deeper, we can repeat the same process we just did a couple of times actually. Because if you fully manage to bring the white drop down, the red drop up, you would be fully enlightened in an instant.
Are you still here? So let's repeat it.
So we can repeat it, again taking a last breath. And also in order to repeat the process, sometimes questions come like, do we bring the drops back to the chakras before repeating it? No, certainly not. We just take another sphere of light, again, really connecting to the crown, bringing it down into the heart, connecting to the navel, bringing the red drop to the heart, staying in that. So let's take maybe 5 minutes, and if you want to do it another time or 2 times, feel free to do it. And whenever you really are in a state of mind where you can completely let go and be conscious of your own consciousness, which is not the consciousness of any particular entity, but really our true nature, then we just be it. And also at that stage, there are several techniques that we could apply, like Vajra recitation at the heart, or doing 8 elements dissolution a couple of times with a vast breath. But for now, we will certainly cover that within the next few sessions. But for now, being aware of whatever spaciousness and blissful experience we have, out of that, we manifest with that state of mind as Heruka Chakra Sambhara. We slowly manifest out of that space into the world again. And also the world slowly starts reappearing. So we collect our senses back out of space, still maintaining that Mahamudra and spacious experience. And we also want to maintain the sense that this clear light mind, to whatever degree we have experienced it, is the nature of all beings. So all beings are dark as at their keys. There's really no difference in the different beings. And noticing that as Chakra Sambhara, we dedicate Gyawa di yododa kolo dem chok no drupkyone trokro chekyan malupa de sala gupasho ranchok zemchok rinpoche makye pana gye kimchi gye pana pane baya gomne gomdu pelvarsho. By this virtue may we quickly attain the state of the wheel of supreme bliss, and then may we lead all sentient beings to enlightenment's shores. May precious and supreme bodhicitta, if not yet aroused, be now aroused. And if we already have some of this peerless bodhicitta, may it grow from high to higher. If you know some protector mantras or want to do some special wishes, then now is the time to do so. And then let's take a 5-minute break or 6-7 minute break. And if there are any questions, yeah, we can take some time for questions and answers. We will enable the chat again as well for the break. Welcome back.
Great. How was it?
Yeah, we give you also the ability to unmute in case you have a question, because we only see one, right? Lama Glenn will be giving Vajrayogini and Heruka empowerments, correct? So for now, there is no live empowerment scheduled, but certainly we will do a replay of the Chakra Sambhara empowerment he gave in December.
Yeah, and there are in plans to give the Vajrayogini empowerment because of other retreats going on. And it will probably take place somewhere around between February or March, but there is no exact date yet.
Yeah, but we will keep you posted about it.
Absolutely. And practicing, what's the previous one?
Practicing with light COVID was challenging. My channel feels divided in two, lower and upper part of the body, disconnected with an open but painful heart chakra. Thanks for this consciousness.
Yes, you're very aware. That's very good.
You bring your blessing into the practice. I feel it. Andrew Bear, thank you for the answer.
Oh, thank you, Dima. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much, friends. And so if there are no questions, okay, here's something coming. If a person has difficulty staying in cross legs and needs to move to get comfortable, is there a problem with continuing in the practice? No, certainly there is no problem. Actually, the reason for sitting cross-legged, I mean, there are a lot of benefits. One of the things is that when we sit cross-legged, it closes a little bit the lower part of the body internally, so that the energy will circulate much better where it is really important. And it gives also a much nicer grounded feeling. So really, like, there's a great energy support when one sits cross-legged. Also, we usually sit cross-legged without leaning somewhere. So we are not having any blocks in the energy flow because we lean somewhere or sitting lazily. Nevertheless, it's certainly possible to sit in any other type of posture as well. So if it's difficult because of any type of health conditions, it's no problem. Whatever is possible is always
arthritis in hips, of course. Don't strain yourself. You're already incredible to do the practice, and certainly you will also experience some health benefits from it. But for the energy flow, as Jonas mentioned, there are certain benefits of that posture, and also the energy not easily spreads around, meaning we don't lose the focus also so much, but it's not a deal breaker for the practice, so no worries.
Yeah. Do you recommend the use of a meditation belt during practice? Piggyback on last question. I mean, we have belts, but rarely to never use them. So
I don't use it for Tummo anymore. Like, only if I want to keep meditation for longer and I'm falling asleep or something. But it's what would you say?
The way we practice it, certainly not much benefit. Lamela, I think also, I never heard him talking about it actually.
I mean, there is a benefit, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's, for example, I mean, there are other postures, like, for example, meditating like that, meaning the legs are up and having the knees like this, and then one does the Tummo like that. And for example, to keep the legs in this position, it's nice to put a belt around in order to that you don't have to hold it with your muscle all the time, or to keep the back straight. But again, if we don't meditate like for 8 hours straight, a couple of weeks in a row, so it's not a problem for this 1-2 hours. Our session average takes.
Your session takes, because when we had this night retreat, when I was having 5 hours the same posture, that helped a lot.
Yeah, sure.
But it's for the Tummo practice regularly. If you practice for long hours, maybe. But yeah, it's not a must-have.
Yeah. I often lose focus at the black near attainment. I feel a sense of falling in and the blackout. Is the answer just more practice? Yeah, I mean, if you already noticed that, it's already incredible. So it's basically you just keep on doing, and actually there's nothing wrong with that experience. It's actually very good, and even said like the stronger or longer the blackout happens, the longer we are unconscious, the stronger our clear light experience afterwards is.
Yes.
If you have only this very short moments of unconsciousness, then there's only a little bit of clear light happening. So there's in general nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, already that's a great sign, I mean.
Yeah, and if you stay conscious also, then the more practice you do, you will certainly come out with great bliss and radiance.
And do you experience any fear around that blackout, or when you lose the conscience? Let's see if Amy responds. Can you scroll down?
Yeah.
Or if you want to unmute yourself, of course, it's possible.
Not yet, maybe we just can.
No, I don't feel any fear.
Any fear? Okay, so you experience that blackout, and you just feel that you're going through the stage, and you reappear in a few seconds later, or how it looks like for you?
Yeah, but I don't like, I lose focus, concentration, so I don't get to the clear light.
Oh yeah, but that's ego still stands on the way, so it's all about clearing that path further. You're already so far, so the answer is to continue.
Okay.
Yeah, great, really well done. Wow. So
could you share the info of the artist that creates the Chakra Samvara tankas? I'm not sure which tankas you are meaning, Elizabeth.
There are several, so if you can
Yeah.
specify which one.
Hello, thank you. No, this is the artist that Lama Glenn had mentioned had the beautiful picture of Chakra Samvara.
Yes. So we can ask him which one is it, because yeah, it's the most beautiful one.
You mean the image he has behind himself sometimes?
Yeah, I guess he mentioned that he had developed, that this artist had developed some for him. So I was just wondering if we have a chance to take a look at it.
Yeah, that's Jose Morelli, but he's not painting the images. He's just putting them into format or making them in the higher resolutions. Like,
okay.
Yeah,
what
he's
I know
a digital graphic.
Yeah, so he's a graphic designer. But who painted the images, Lamala, I think himself doesn't even know. At least from what he said last time, he's not aware which artist it is. He assumes it is a Kadri artist because there are the early Kadri masters above Chakra Samvara, but that was also all he knew about.
I think he mentioned one tanka especially. We can ask him, Elizabeth.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm just wondering which one to put as an inspiration for the practice. Thank you.
Surely the one that aligns with you. And of course, it's good to make clear that it's that the aspects are correct. But besides that.
Yes, thank you.
What does it mean to feel energetic movement throughout the body, including crown and heart, while remaining physically cold? I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think there's any very particular meaning in it. So if you feel the energy flowing, that's very good. And certainly when working with energy, we can have all kinds of different energetic experiences, like extreme heat or even cold. It's actually not too uncommon for Tummo practice.
Yeah.
So in general, I think I would just make sure that you're doing the breathing correctly, not holding anything too tight, or and just continuing in a smooth way that you feel you benefit from the practice.
Yeah, plus sometimes the actually energy movement does not mean heat arising physically, especially at first. So don't feel discouraged about it. And if you feel any energy movement, because you're identifying here the heart and the crown, so you start feeling somewhere in that area, but without the heat rising. For some people, it's a stage of when you actually warm up to feeling also the energy in a form of heat also rising. And for some people, it's only the awareness for some time. So it doesn't mean anything either good or bad. It's just your process.
Maya and Piotrek. Piotrek is Gosha's brother.
Oh.
And they say, you said we should look for subtle energy changes in the body. How one knows if what is felt is the thing or some artificial feeling?
So
I mean,
changes in the body. Yeah.
I mean, artificial is probably most likely, we don't want to produce anything. We don't want to imagine, oh, I feel now this and that. I mean, we kind of visualize, of course, that there's the energy moves and there's the heat and so forth. But I think the more one practices, it becomes very obvious what is a pure wishful thinking or what is actually happening. So yeah, I think you just continue and you will know yourself sooner or later what is actually happening, or that it does happen. The more it becomes also apparent, then you won't have any more doubts. Is it happening? Am I just wishful thinking that it is happening?
Plus, I have one experiential advice to that, that if you realize that if you want to focus on what you're experiencing, and you're wondering whether it's something I just artificially produced, or is it really a sign of the energy transformation, then a focus on emotion. Am I experiencing that together with the hope or together with the fear? And if it is either or both, it's probably ego-driven, not the real experience. But even if it is real experience or it is induced by ego, you can also treat it as just another story that unfolds in front of your eyes. So don't pay too much attention. Don't put another interpretation on top of that. Just see, okay, another thing.
And from Fox and Deb, not really a question, but we are observing a lot of interesting time dilation. What feels like 10 to 15 minutes turns out to be 70 to 80 minutes once we finish. Great.
Very good sign. Very good sign.
Yeah, we certainly, when going into deeper states of meditation, we tap into timelessness. Yeah. Often it's more like the other way around, that people sit for 3 minutes and then all of a sudden, and then coming out, oh, it was 3 minutes, but it felt like an hour or so. But that certainly is very common.
Other way around. The time expands or shrinks?
No, and so what I mean, most common it is we sit for a short period, but experience much longer. Like we have an infinity within a very short time, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in that way. Yeah, and also Lamala mentioned that at some moment in the process when you start getting more in touch with clear light and this spaciousness of the experience, then it's also the time when the time starts to play tricks on us. So that's actually, it means that you are going deeper into the level of absorption. So it's actually a very, very good sign.
Ivan, during the meditation, I felt my head and shoulders bigger. Then I felt as if I and my body were separated and my body was glued to the ground and I was a little higher off the ground. Yeah, very typical. When energy starts moving, all types of things start happening, so that some parts of the body feel bigger or we feel not being the body, and these type of things are very common.
Yeah. Even one of the lady that takes part in one of the retreats with Changula, also it's not very uncommon for her to levitate. So really the really things are happening. And the trick is, again, not to focus on that and build a story around it. We don't want the practice to be another reason to build our ego, just other way around. So it's like, notice that and think, it's another change. What you mentioned before, also we've heard both from Changula and Lamala, every change is a step of progression. So whatever shifts, think like, oh, today I feel that. Oh, today it was instead of that experience. Okay, next page. So notice it, don't focus on
it. Amy, also Lama said something about doing Tummo for 4 hours at a go. He was kidding, right? I mean, sometimes he's kidding about time, certainly, like, and then you rest in clear light mind for the next 8 hours. I mean, great meditators certainly do that and can do that with no problem. It's just for us average practitioners, of course, it's not very realistic to do Tummo non-stop for 4 hours.
But if you heard that, maybe it's for you.
Yeah. It's certainly possible. It's not too uncommon to do it. It's I think it gets hard to benefit from such a long time if one is not very used to it. It's like if you hold your breath for 2 hours constantly, like, or doing even just 100 breaths in a row, I mean, it's a lot, yeah. But advanced practitioners easily do that. It's just for us, then it just becomes very difficult and not fun at all, and not much benefit if we try to do something that is out of our capacity.
Yeah. And again, in our mundane settings like job, other obligation duties, it's probably not very practical when you have a time and you just set yourself for the 4-hour session in a weekend somewhere. Yeah, go for it, but don't feel obliged that it should be a standard. It doesn't need to be.
Is it okay for a person to hold yin yoga poses during this meditation practice?
Adding soy sauce to the spaghetti.
I mean, I'm not sure what types of poses you mean, but if you're too experimental, I would be careful really with mixing it. And I think it definitely depends on what poses you mean. But yeah, certainly good to be mindful of not mixing too much.
Yeah,
like
even Namala advised that, even it was, I think it was on Wednesday now, and that some of these methods are good separately, but combined, they don't carry much use. And especially for the benefit for the whole practice, it can actually take away, like adding a soy sauce to spaghetti. It is great that you can do it and do it when you do the yoga, when you do the other practice, but probably it's better to keep it away from mixing much.
Yeah. Is there any recommendations what to do after Tummo practice? What follows at retreat?
Be happy.
Don't eat a meal, read more prayers or a walk. What follows at so definitely, I mean, depends. Like if you have a very deep meditation and you slowly come out of it, you just want to maybe take more time coming out of it. Really the step of at the end, when manifesting out of the meditation as chakra samvara and coming back into the world, it's not just the pure mental thinking like, oh, I'm just coming out now and then I go about things. You really want to take that deep meditation into your everyday experience so that you have this non-dual consciousness and this sense of spaciousness and bliss within your daily activities. So if you still have a strong meditation experience if you have the good afterglow of your practice when you finish the meditation, it's good to really to take that meditation with you. And then it actually doesn't really matter so much what you do, because you're still kind of having your Mahamudra view with you.
Yeah, and also when you start practicing more and more Tummo, you will also have the real energy transformation felt, and so you will be even having this kind of glowing light at the end of the meditation. And Lamala often mentions that it's good to bathe yourself in that light before you go out again. So it's going to be quite pleasant, and when we are rushed to maybe close the meditation, we don't get the full benefit of it. So the first thing is, as Jonas mentioned, just stay in it, just go gradually out, and then when you go out, you really manifest as Heruka, and then all your world is Heruka's mandala. So it's actually a continuation of the meditation. Then it's not formal meditation, it's informal. You translate everything that happens from perspective of you embodying chakra samvara, and all world is your tantric theater. Like how much it changes what happens around you. And yeah, and then as you say, then it doesn't matter what is happening. You are in the mandala, you're a Heruka, so what can go wrong?
Yeah. And it's very much the way of the Mahasiddhas, where Vajrayana emerged in ancient India. Like many of the Mahasiddhas were not monks or having like a very strict day of being this or that, like having like a spiritual role to fulfill, but often were craftsmen people, or like really all types of different characters, from wild crazy yogis to kings to Brahmins to craftsmen people, or like modern day would be probably someone working in an office or so. It's definitely possible to practice the tantric way and still practicing in between sessions. And actually it's a very important subject, even because most of us, we don't even have the condition to spend like not even 4 hours of meditation a day. So for us, it's very important to focus a lot of what is happening in between our sessions. Yes. So let's say we have maybe a 1 hour time a day that we either have at one session, or we are divided in 2 sessions of 30 minutes each. And then we really want to be mindful of being still a Buddha, and being mindful of that everyone else is a Buddha as well in our in-between sessions. Yeah. And keeping the Mahamudra view, or doing mantra recitations and all these type of techniques that we have in Vajrayana, that we take them with us and apply them in between sessions.
Yeah, and mantras, but also just the attitude, because often I go out of the meditation and I'm Heruka in the mantra, and then someone comes and with a totally different attitude, and the real practice then is to keep this outlook I'm Heruka, I'm Chakra Samvara, and that's my godly theater in here, like performing whatever magic, and you know, the attitude that stays, whatever you work on it, it's the real meditation, it is the real practice. And I think even recently either Changula or Lamala mentioned that the real practice is your real life. So how you take all what you've learned about your non-duality in the meditation, and then you put it into your daily life. That's the real exam and the true practice. Because then it's not only like, I'm just holy, holy, om, sweet om, but I'm just actually doing that. So like, put your money where your mouth is.
Okay. Fox and Deb said very useful answer. That was the question about the time. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, if that's it for now. So if there are no other questions, then have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is, and see you all either tomorrow for the Amitaya Sayagriva session with Chongula or next week.
Yeah, thank you so much for that time. It's really so precious.
Thank you. Bye-bye.